What is up, YouTube? What is up? Hey, check it out without a doubt. Oh, we can't do this one first. We got to do something else. Wait a minute, y'all. Should we do this? Yeah. Family speaks out. Diddy speaks out. Did we do this? Hold up, y'all. My bad. I thought we was ready. I'm so excited, y'all. I'm so psyched like laboratory mice that my the headache is gone. My body feels great. I'm flushing today, straight water, baby. Well, I'm gonna do my little kidney stone thing. But I'm a flush hard as I don't know what, water and cloves. I'm gonna tell y'all what I'm taking. Y'all ever heard of this? Cloves? I don't know. Look, when I get it close, it's out of focus. That's the 3D effect. I'm in focus, but the place behind me is, yeah. I got the camera set up on 3. Trust me, I don't know what I'm doing. It's almost working. I'm trying to master it, the filming. That's why the background is blurred out. And people see how my hand looks cool, don't it? But check it out, man. This is a herb that you can get from any grocery store. Cloves, C-L-O-V-E-S, cloves. Like little baby wooden sticks. And I'm probably telling y'all some stuff, especially my age, my group. Y'all already know this. I've been sucking on these and eating about 10 or 20 of them and mixing them with stuff. And people say, don't take too many of them. Shoot, I feel great. Y'all know that BC powder. I've been on that BC powder, man. That BC powder ain't good for you, man. Sent me to the hospital. I went and got checked out. Thank you, God. They said no high blood pressure, no sugar, no diabetes, none of that stuff. My blood pressure was up just a little bit, but I think it's done went down now. Yes, it did. Yeah, it did. It done went down a little bit. I hope it went down a little bit. Anyway, check this out, man. I'm burning. I'm burning right now. I'm on fire. My head on fire. Y'all might want to try this stuff, man. It's called Tiger Balm. My man gave me this Tiger Balm stuff when I put it close. Go on Amazon or Google Tiger Balm. This stuff warms you up. It's almost like icy hot. When you put it on, you rub it in, and oh man, I feel minty, menthol hot right about now. I think this stuff is really helping my headache, and I'm gonna put some more on all around my neck and everything. This stuff is the bomb diggity. So anyway, check this out, man. This joint been up for about 20 hours, so I'm trying my best to bring the most newest news, but I'm keeping an eye on the little girls also. Look, I got myself playing in the background. Anyway, man, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Jay-Z finally speaks out, unveiling disturbing secrets about Diddy that triggered the waves of panic. We getting a little bit of information out of this stuff. Hey, did y'all hear the dude Dave? The police is starting to look at him a little closer now. The singer Dave that had his little girlfriend that was too young for him in his trunk of his Tesla, in the flunk. They call it the flunk because it's in the front. Front trunk. It's the frunk. Oh man, it's in the trunk of the car, the front trunk. That's what I call it. Anyway, they finally started to look at him. I don't know why they should have been looking at his tail. Man, anyway, y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out, man. Here we go.
Through our PIs right now, we do have some evidence that Kim Porter may have been poisoned and murdered.
The conversation regarding Kim Porter continues. More discussion over her death and the accusation that there wasn't a proper investigation. We're going to catch you up to speed on this aspect of the Sean Combs story and bring back on forensic death investigator Joseph Scott Morgan.
The moment the truth cracks open, everything shifts. The figure at the center of it all, once proud, once dominant, once convinced nothing could shake their throne, finds themselves frozen.
Since we've talked about Kim Porter, right? A key figure in the Sean Combs saga. And with the arrest and indictment of rapper, producer, media mogul Sean Diddy Combs on federal racketeering and sex trafficking charges, there is this renewed interest in all aspects of his life, all the people in his life. And that includes, of course, Kim Porter, Combs' ex-girlfriend, who tragically died in her Los Angeles home back in November of 2018. Officers reportedly found the 47-year-old unresponsive. She was pronounced dead. Now, initially, an autopsy was performed on Porter the next day, and according to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office, the cause of death was deferred pending additional tests. But then you fast forward to January 2019, and the office then concludes that she died of lobar pneumonia. So the manner of death was listed as natural as opposed to something like homicide. And she'd apparently gone into cardiac arrest. Now, it was reported that she had been battling flu-like symptoms in the days leading up to her death, that there were water bottles, sports drinks, Pedialyte. They were found in her bedroom. Days after her death, Sean Combs commented publicly about Porter's death, writing on Instagram, "For the last 3 days, I've been trying to wake up out of this nightmare, but I haven't. I don't know what I'm going to do without you, baby. I miss you so much. Today I'm going to pay tribute to you. I'm going to try and find the words to explain our unexplainable relationship. We were more than best friends. We were more than soulmates. We were some other S. And I miss you so much. Super black love." Combs would reportedly tell Essence magazine the following year, "One night I was checking on her and she was like, 'Puffy, take care of my babies.' She actually said that to me before she died." Now, he's talked about Porter a lot over the years. For example, in 2023, Combs claimed that Porter was the inspiration behind his Love album, Off the Grid. He even dedicated a song to her. Now, despite all of this, there have been rumors. There have been unsubstantiated rumors about Kim Porter's death, about what actually happened. And remember, this is a couple that first started dating in the 90s. They had an on-again, off-again relationship. They went through a custody battle over Christian, the son that they had together. They reconcile. They have twin daughters together, Delilah Starr, Jesse James. Combs reportedly cheated on Porter, though. They broke up in 2007, but by all accounts, Porter and Combs seemed to remain close, to be on good terms as parents until her death. And by the way, a little side note, Porter was actually mentioned relatively recently in one of the sexual assault lawsuits that was filed against Sean Combs. This concerned April Lampros. And she claimed that one night in 1996, Combs had forced her and Porter to take ecstasy and have sex with each other as Combs watched and touched himself. And she said afterwards that Combs even invited her to Porter's birthday party. Now, Lampros would also allege that Porter got angry and was resentful of her and helped get her fired from the bar where Lampros was working. So it was really interesting to hear that. But like I said, there have been theories popping up, particularly on Reddit, about Porter's real cause of death, about
Everybody knows, man. Diddy had something to do with that girl being off this earth, 6 feet under. Diddy did it. Diddy did it. That's what I think. Allegedly, I think he did it. But if I'd have took the allegedly out, I know he did it. But you gotta say allegedly. And that shows how dumb the kids are. Because, I mean, come on now. Pneumonia. Big homie Cece talk about pneumonia and all this stuff. Man, y'all better be careful out here. Be careful. Wash your hands. When I wash my hands, you sit there and wash your hands. Don't just run some water over your hands, throw a little soap on there, and you finish. Let the soap, let the disinfectant, the detergent in the soap, give it a little while so it can sit there and marinate. Let it marinate on them germs and stuff on your skin. That's real talk, man. Y'all better be careful out here.
So it was really interesting to hear that. But like I said, there have been theories popping up, particularly on Reddit, about Porter's real cause of death, about whether or not she was killed. And one of those people who seems to believe that there is more to the story is Albie Shore. This is Porter's ex. His real name is Albert Joseph Brown. They shared a son together named Quincy. Well, after Combs' arrest on federal sex crimes charges, Brown posted on Instagram, "In a nutshell, Kimberly was allegedly taken from us because she was set on course to accomplish what Mrs.
And disbelief as the voices they never expected to rise suddenly step into the light. The daughters, the ones who grew up in the shadows of an empire built on control, image, and relentless ambition. The ones who were always kept just close enough to appear loved, but far enough to remain silent. They arrive with revelations that tear through the illusions that held everything together for years." It starts quietly, a simple message, a simple statement, yet behind that calm tone lies decades of pressure, confusion, emotional exhaustion, and buried memories pushing upward like a tidal wave. The daughters begin speaking, and the world immediately senses something is different. This isn't drama, gossip, or spectacle. This is truth, a steady, heart-heavy truth that carries more force than any external accusation ever could. The figure at the center tries to process it, tries to convince themselves it's a misunderstanding, a phase, a moment of rebellion, but the daughters speak with such clarity, such conviction, such emotional precision, that even the strongest denial crumbles under the weight of their words. They describe a life that looked perfect from afar but felt like
Cassie Ventura did by igniting the bonfire, which brings us here today. Ventura, of course, is Combs' ex-girlfriend who filed that initial sexual assault, sex trafficking lawsuit against Sean Combs last year. It spiraled into multiple other lawsuits and arguably spiraled into these charges that he's now facing today. And Brown wrote, "I'm writing this post to formally request an investigation into an entire group of individuals who worked at or around the residence of Miss Kimberly Porter." And he called her death a tragic murder. Now, interestingly, there are reports that Albie Shore has even taken more security measures after asking for an investigation. In fact, he was presented an award at the American Liver Foundation's National Legacy Gala in New York. And in his speech, he says, "We even have Homeland Security in the building. Detective Jackson, good to see you." Not entirely sure what he's talking about, what he's referencing, but considering it was Homeland Security that raided Sean Combs' properties in LA and Miami and collected all that evidence that federal prosecutors are now using in their criminal case against him, interesting comment to make. Now, Gene Deal, this is Combs' former bodyguard, spoke on the Art of Deal podcast about this, and he said, "You got to realize, man, Kim's death wasn't even investigated." He went on to say, "How is it that there was no electronic products or gadgets around Kim? Be her laptop missing, her cell phone's missing, everything is missing, that she could get in touch with her little girls if they're not at home, or her friends or family. All that's missing. How is it that? All that's missing. How is it that?" The detectives didn't even examine Porter's body where she passed away. And Deal emphasized, if that is true, that case needs to be reopened. And also in regards to the idea that she got a massage right before her death, he also said, who gives somebody a massage when they get pneumonia? Deal also apparently took issue with the alleged timing of buying her gold casket. He said, how you order a gold casket 2 months before somebody dies? And he
Wow, that's crazy. And the massage thing, whatever horse tranquilizer, whatever this is to make you get pneumonia, when you you massaging it deeper into the fat, the blood, the body tissues. That's why he got a massage, so it can hurry up and take effect. We got a window for this whole thing. We got it all set up. I don't know. I'm not Perry Mason, but I know it got something to do with that. That's why you get a massage.
Even addressed Albie Shore beefing up his security. Al ain't no fool. He's smart by getting extra security. Now, with all of this as a backdrop, the last time we talked about Kim Porter on Sidebar is when a book was published on Amazon. It was entitled Kim's Lost Words, A Journey for Justice from the Other Side. It is allegedly a memoir from Kim Porter herself detailing her relationship with Sean Combs, but it reportedly contains typos, shocking claims, some are saying even inaccurate statements. In fact, Quincy Brown, Christian, Jesse Delilah Combs, they wrote in a joint statement on Instagram We have seen so many hurtful and false rumors circulating about our parents, Kim Porter and Sean Combs' relationship, as well as about our mom's tragic passing, that we feel the need to speak out. Claims that our mom wrote a book are simply untrue. She did not. And anyone claiming to have a manuscript is misrepresenting themselves. And by the way, even Combs authorized his attorney Erica Wolf to release a statement on his behalf regarding the new book, stating, "The Kim Porter memoir is fake. It is also offensive, a shameless attempt to profit from tragedy. Chris Todd has no respect for Miss Porter or her family, who deserve better." Unlike the fabrications in his sickening memoir, it is an established fact that Miss Porter died of natural causes. May she rest in peace. And Al B. Shore reportedly sent a cease and desist letter to Amazon as well. And
oh my God dang. You know you're doing something wrong when both people that's involved in that book, and I paid $250 for that book, by the way, because I wanted the book for my fans and for the YouTube channel. It was an investment. But they took the book down. This book got more and more popular. Trust me, guys, I didn't even read the whole book. Just like Courtney. Courtney part of the book. He said, I ain't read the book. What? It's just too many flags. If I put out a book, right? If you put out a product, you gonna read it and put your stamp of approval on it. That's why so many misspelled words in the daggone thing, typos and all kinds of stuff. But the book was selling though. Everybody wanted to know what was happening. Perfect timing. Bad promotion, bad business people. Both of them terrible when it comes down to doing business. Golly. But I know one thing, everything that's in the book, you can find online. It's almost like they took everything off the line and made that book. People think that people got that book and so they put it online. No, it's the opposite.
And Chris Todd, by the way, he's the author. And when we say memoir, we have to be clear here. There's no information verifying that Porter actually authored these writings or authorized a book to be written by her or anybody else at any point. And even the author really couldn't confirm whether these are actually Porter's words or not, but he seems to believe it's true, claiming that Porter created the information herself on a flash drive, which Todd says she gave to her friends prior to her death. Again, her family, loved ones deny that.
Like a constant storm from the inside. A life where every day revolved around presenting an image that never matched the emotional reality behind closed doors. They speak of a house that looked like luxury but felt like a fortress. The kind of place where silence echoed louder than conversations, where every step felt monitored, where every expression mattered, where they learned to read the atmosphere before they learned to read books. Growing up, they always sensed something was off, something hidden, something masked by power, wealth, and control, but they were too young to understand it, too sheltered to question it, too afraid to challenge it. As they grew older, the pieces began to click together, the coldness they felt, the distance, the emotional absence, the unpredictable shifts in mood, the constant pressure to live up to a reputation they never asked for. They weren't raised to be themselves. They were raised to be extensions of someone else's image, trained to smile on cue, stay silent when uncomfortable, perform happiness even when their hearts felt heavy. They talk about events they were forced.
But either way, interesting to think about. And I sat.
I don't know who editing these videos, but Michael Jackson the same way. Y'all seen the movies? These kids, especially the kids, they don't want to perform and do all these tricks and everything. They want to have fun like normal kids sometimes. The grass always look greener on the other side. So these celebrities, they work hard in the studio. I would love to live in the studio. No, you don't. No, you don't. In 6 months, you're going to get sick and tired of it, dog. Trust me. You at home bored, you would love to have a job. And then 6 months later, you tired of that job. You ready for something else. Anyway, here we go.
Sat down with Chris Todd to talk about this, and this is some of what he had to say.
Through our PIs right now, we do have some evidence that Kim Porter may have been poisoned and murdered. We need to listen to the people that are online, even these online sleuths, the bloggers. A lot of information comes out from this kind of community. And there's talk of toxins being in her system at first.
You think?
It was called deferred at first, then it was changed. It's disturbing. It's dark. It's sad. This is an abused woman telling her story. When I first read the whole thing, I only had a couple pages at first. Now, as for the tapes, I've been told that I can have access to the tapes.
What are the tapes? First, start there. What tapes are you talking about?
The big ones.
You're talking about sex tapes.
Come on, cousin. Why we gotta play this game? See, this is why people like Uncle Mike, because I point out the bull. Where my man? I ain't even got the bull. I ain't got him up, y'all. I ain't got him up. But y'all know what's supposed to be coming right about now. What tapes? The big tapes. Man, stop it. What tapes are we talking about?
Tapes.
Yeah, but access to the tapes.
What are the tapes? First, start there. What tapes are you talking about?
The big ones.
You're talking about sex tapes.
Yeah, but with very famous people.
Okay, so talk to us about what you were told about the tapes.
That if I pass the test, they trust me, I will be the one to do it.
Who's they?
The sources and the people around the community of Kim and Diddy.
And I should tell you that after our...
Why don't you just say the people who got the tapes in their possession? Why we need all this bull? Man, where's my man at? I gotta find him, y'all. Why we need all this bull to happen, man? Because you over here talking about we talking about the tapes, the big tapes. You talking about big tapes that you gotta put into a big machine and hit a big play button so they can play? Those type of big tapes? Why is it that a S tape is big? It could be a small tape with a lot of... You stupid, man. You just dumb, that's all. Here we go. Let's keep it going.
Our interview, Amazon responded to all of this blowback by removing Chris Todd's book from its store. So with all of that in mind, let's revisit this, shall we? I want to bring in forensic death investigator from Jacksonville State University, Joseph Scott Morgan, host of the Body Bags podcast. I encourage everybody to check it out. Who doesn't want to hear the soothing voice of Joseph Scott Morgan for a prolonged period of time? And by the way, we're very lucky because Joseph told us that this is the first recording he is doing from his new studio. And gosh, Joseph, you look phenomenal.
Oh, well, thank you, Jesse. It's good to hear that from you. A person so stylish as yourself and with the world's best hair, of course.
Well, that's very kind
unlike
of you.
mine that is graying and not thinning, but it's gray nonetheless. But
It looks
thanks
good.
for having me on. It's always a pleasure. Well, thank you. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
So listen, I'm happy to have you on. We had you on months ago talking about this. There have been these kind of interesting developments since we last spoke. First, if you could just tell us, again, let's set the stage. Do you have any reason to believe that Kim Porter did not die of lobar pneumonia, and whether Porter could have been poisoned in a way to mimic those symptoms?
Wow, that's a very highly sophisticated premise. I think putting out that she could have been poisoned in some way, certainly something that would be undetectable. What I can tell you is that there was quite a bit of pathology with her autopsy. And, you know, you'd mentioned just a moment ago that she had died of lobar pneumonia. For folks that don't know, just a brief little primer here. Our lungs are comprised of lobes. Okay. So hence lobar pneumonia. The right lung has 3 lobes. The left lung has 2. All right. And the reason you have 2 is on the left is because the heart takes up the space. It kind of overlies the lung on that side. Now, her lungs, just so that I have the numbers right.
To attend. Moments they were told were important for the public eye. Times when they were dressed up and posed like ornaments instead of treated like children. Every celebration felt rehearsed. Every vacation felt curated. Every moment that should have been genuine was instead crafted for cameras, audiences, or strategic relationships. But the shocking part of their story isn't the perfection. They've exposed that before. The real shock lies in what they reveal about the emotional world behind it all. They describe days when tension filled the house from morning to night, days when they felt like they were walking on a tightrope stretched across a canyon, days when a small mistake, a wrong tone, or a simple question could shift the entire energy of the place. They learned early that emotions weren't welcome, not theirs. At least, vulnerability was not allowed unless it served the image. They cried quietly, laughed carefully, and spoke cautiously. One daughter recalls a moment that still lives in her memory like a scar, a moment when she needed comfort, just basic human understanding, and instead was met with silence as cold as stone.
Vulnerable foreigners who don't speak English well, which again is not the case here. And they highlight how the only potentially comparable case in New York is where you had a retired police officer and a former judge who apparently hired women to have sex with a male fraternal group called the Jesters. But Combs' attorneys say, while there was no profit there, there's no profit here, there was sex trafficking of those prostitutes. That's what's different. Again, Combs was acquitted of sex trafficking in this case. And here's the main point, quote, moreover, the cases which involve defendants similarly situated to Mr. Combs have been released on bond pending sentencing. In reviewing the cases across the country where the primary or sole conviction was for a violation of 18 U.S.C. 2421, the defendants who were not charged with running a prostitution business have been released pending sentencing. And then Combs' attorneys make another argument for why Combs' conditions are exceptional. And it's about him being locked up at the MDC. They say that a district court judge in the Southern District in another case basically said how bad the MDC is. As Judge Furman noted, the state of affairs at MDC is unacceptable. In so noting, Judge Furman concluded that the conditions in the MDC qualify as exceptional reasons under the statute justifying, and this was the defendant in this case, Chavez's continuing release. Judge Furman found that the conditions at the MDC are, quote, dreadful in many respects, but three warrant particular emphasis. 1. Continued reports of inordinate periods of lockdown. 2. Claims that the facility provides inadequate and or substantially delayed necessary medical care, a particular risk in this case. And 3. General issues about the conditions at the facility. These conditions have not abated in Mr. Combs' detention at the facility. As the court is aware, during Mr. Combs' incarceration at the MDC, the facility was subject to an interagency suite that was designed to achieve our shared goal of maintaining a safe environment for both our employees and the incarcerated individuals housed at MDC Brooklyn. They're actually quoting what the rationale was. In other words, there is a significant issue at the MDC related to the safety of employees and incarcerated individuals that require outside law enforcement action from multiple agencies to address.
Nah, bruh. In other words, these are all the reasons why Uncle Mike don't want to go. I'm allergic to jail. These are all the reasons why you don't need to be taking your tail to jail. Because it's unfit. It's a jail. It ain't the cleanest thing in the world. It ain't, you know what I'm saying? It ain't, you don't want to be there, man. That's all. That's it. I take your word for it. I'm allergic to the place. Don't want to be in the place. Don't even want to work at the place. No way. All that stuff is the reason why Uncle Mike is allergic to jail.
Issue at the MDC related to the safety of employees and incarcerated individuals that require outside law enforcement action from multiple agencies to address. Importantly, MDC, as a jail, has a significant law enforcement presence within its walls 24 hours per day that are equipped with investigatory and often unregulated authority. Thus, the requirement of outside law enforcement agencies to ensure safety within the MDC is an admission that serious violence, mayhem, and chaos is occurring within the MDC that requires more than a Band-Aid raid, but rather surgery. Indeed, we are aware of ongoing threats of violence and actual violence in the facility such that Mr. Combs' safety is constantly at risk. And they go on to argue, though Mr. Combs has been a model inmate for his nearly year-long period of confinement, the violent conditions are still very much a concern for Mr. Combs and is an unnecessary confinement risk given the clear precedent of multiple similarly situated Mann Act convictions where defendants were released on conditions. Now, the government, by the way, would probably disagree with that statement of him being a model inmate. Remember when they accused Combs of trying to arrange three-way phone calls and buying the use of other inmates' phone privileges to try to make sure the government wasn't listening in, that he was having these private conversations, that he was allegedly trying to contact witnesses in the case, that he allegedly orchestrated a birth.
She remembers sitting alone for hours, wondering if her feelings were invisible, wondering if she was invisible, wondering why love in that house felt conditional, strategic, and distant. Their voices shake slightly when they speak of the pressure, the expectation to be perfect, polished, flawless, to never embarrass the image, to never reveal weakness, to never question the rules. They constantly heard about how lucky they were, how privileged their lives were, how grateful they should be, but gratitude becomes suffocation when you're never allowed to feel anything else. The daughters explain how emotional neglect doesn't break you all at once, it drains you slowly, it makes you doubt your own thoughts, it makes you bury your own needs, it makes you shrink your voice until you almost forget you have one, but eventually, the truth pushes back. Eventually, the silence becomes too heavy. Eventually, the cracks become earthquakes. And so they speak. The industry panics the moment their statements circulate. People who once stood proudly beside the figure at the center now scramble to distance themselves. Conversations behind the scenes turn frantic.
They campaign to help his public image while he was locked up. So if we hear a government response, I'm sure they're going to say something about that. Then, the defense highlights he's not a risk of flight. He's not a danger to the community, which, by the way, I think are real key points here. But they seem to echo a lot of the same arguments that they have already stated to the court. And remember, they haven't been successful in the past. That he voluntarily came to New York last year to surrender himself to authorities, that he gave up his passport to his attorneys 6 months before his arrest, paid off his mortgage on his Miami home so it was free and clear for him to stay at while out on bond. He was just acquitted of the most serious charges that he was facing, which, by the way, carried decades, if not life in prison, that he's not a risk of flight. That's the basic argument. Now, when it comes to the danger argument, that is key. Why? Judge Subramanian had said after the verdict that the reason he was denying bail was because of Combs' violence, that his own attorneys admitted he was violent during the course of the trial. Well, here is what Combs' defense attorneys argue about that. Quote, the court noted that the defense admitted a history of domestic violence as to...
As soon as they said that, I was like, they're going down the wrong road. They're going down the... As soon as they said that, I kept saying, you don't want to tell the judge, yeah, we agree with them. He is a violent person. What the hell you think they putting in jail? Violent people. That means he's a threat to anybody, including me. Oh my God, here we go. Let's keep going.
To Miss Ventura, and that he struck Jane twice in June 2024. However, we strenuously object that Mr. Combs poses a danger to the community, aside from a single instance on June 18, 2024, where Mr. Combs was provoked by Jane through her own acts of violence. There was no evidence of any acts of violence in the last 7 years. Indeed, the jury notably rejected the government's argument that the June 2024 incident constituted coercion when it acquitted Mr. Combs of the sex trafficking charge. Also, prior to his arrest in this case, Mr. Combs enrolled in a domestic violence program in which he participated until he was arrested and incarcerated in connection with this case. If released on conditions, Sean Combs will not be violent to anyone. As we said in court, this jury gave him his life back, and he will not squander his second chance at life, nor would he do anything to further jeopardize his 7 children not having a father and 4 of his children not having a parent at all. The court can fashion...
bullshit.
He has already jeopardized his family with all the drugs and all the stuff he was doing. When he beat up on Cassie in that hallway, boy, you wasn't thinking about your family then. Half of the time you ain't thinking about them until they can get into a video and make you some money or something. Get you some publicity. Them beautiful daughters you got, all of them beautiful. All of them beautiful. But nah, You over there you ain't thinking about them when you drinking out that toilet bowl, drinking that hooch out that toilet. I don't give. Tell some man, stop saying that. It's a bag. They just put it in the toilet. I don't want to be drinking nothing that come anywhere close to a toilet. Would you drink it? That's what y'all let me know in the comments. Would you drink it? Yeah, it's in a bag and they put it in the toilet. I tell you what, you make some Kool-Aid or some punch and put it in a bag and put it in your toilet. Then take it out the toilet and drink it. I dare you. I bet you won't do it. Talking to me. Y'all talking to me like y'all crazy. Here we go.
His second chance at life, nor would he do anything to further jeopardize his 7 children not having a father and 4 of his children not having a parent at all. The court can fashion any set of conditions, and Mr. Combs will abide by any condition to make the court comfortable that Mr. Combs will not be violent toward any person. And that is when they propose the following bail package. That Combs will sign a $50 million bond secured by his home in Miami, that the bond will be co-signed by 3 financially responsible people, that Combs will reside in his home in Miami, that his travel will be limited to the Southern District of Florida, the Southern District of New York for attorney meetings, as well as airports that are necessary to travel between the two, that he will be placed under the express supervision of the U.S. Pretrial Services Agency, that he will report to that agency as directed, that his passport will be surrendered to pretrial services, that he shall not apply for any other passport, and they even highlight that the court can add other conditions too. Home detention, private security approved by the court, mental health treatment. He'll agree to it all. Now, let me tell you, we kind of previewed that this all would happen, this argument would happen, this new bail package would be presented when we spoke a few weeks ago to renowned bail bondsman, to the celebrities, by the way, to the stars, Ira Jettleson, who apparently had been working with Combs' team behind the scenes on working to secure his release. Here's what he said about a new package after the verdict.
When Mark reached out to me afterwards, we started thinking about putting another bail package together.
And what is that bail package and by the way, is this a bail package that you think could be submitted again even after the judge just denied bail?
Well, the judge denied bail based on the statute, and the statute stated a certain amount of information that part of the Mann Act that, was not eligible for bail. There are certain circumstances that
advisors, associates, and longtime allies try to calculate the damage, because revelations from the inside, especially from the children, aren't just emotional blows. They are seismic hits that no amount of PR can clean up. Meanwhile, the figure at the center sits in disbelief, utter disbelief, not because the revelations are false, but because they never believed the daughters would speak. They believed loyalty was permanent, silence was guaranteed, control was everlasting. They never imagined the very people they shaped would become the ones to dismantle everything. The daughters continue revealing the emotional cost of growing up in a world where their lives were planned, scheduled, branded. They talk about the isolation, about being kept away.
When did they talk about that? I think y'all putting out lies now, man. I wish this thing would stay on. I think they putting out lies now, man. That's crazy. When they talk about all this crap they lying about? The twins.
The daughters continue revealing the emotional cost of growing up in a world where their lives were planned, scheduled, branded. They talk about the isolation, about being kept away from normal friendships, normal experiences, normal childhood moments. They grew up surrounded by people, yet constantly felt alone. They lived in a house full of everything, except freedom. They speak of the confusion they felt as teenagers, when they started seeing the contradictions clearly, how public praise clashed with private distance, how admiration from strangers felt
was one of 2 black TV networks in the United States. So in all, the defense is hoping the judge sentences him to a 14-month sentence, meaning if the judge sides with him, it's likely he could be out of jail before the holidays. As of this recording, though, prosecutors haven't submitted their recommendations for his sentencing, but they've previously said that he has an extreme history of violence and that the attempts to minimize his conduct show he's still very dangerous. So that was a lot, right? A lot of legalese, a lot of pages to go through. So let's break it down further with none other than criminal defense attorney Safa Robinson-Ferrer. Safa, always great to see you, and thanks so much for joining me. Let's take a little step back. It's almost sentencing time for Diddy. He needs support. The defense sent a bunch of letters, some including from Young Miami, Dallas Austin, Stevie J, the mothers of his daughters Love and Chance, his mom, his sister, all of his kids minus the youngest one. But what did you make of the letters of support?
I'm not surprised to see letters of support here. That's actually pretty typical as sentencing is about to commence, or shortly, at least a week or two before the sentencing commences. And a lot of times defendants and clients will submit letters that are on behalf of family members and loved ones, giving a clearer picture to the judge as to who this person is generally, or who this person is and what they mean to their family and their loved ones. And that's
Did she say clear picture? They would send a letter to give a clear picture. No, they sent a letter to probably try to sway or trade as if he's a good person. They send letters. They lying. They just sending letters saying what they want. They want Diddy out. Why? Because I like him. Why you want Diddy out? What? Basically, you just letting the world know you overlooking all that bull. You letting the world letting the world know you overlooking.
Bullshit.
members and loved ones shortly, at least a week or two before the sentencing commences. And a lot of times defendants and clients will submit letters that are on behalf of family members and loved ones, giving a clearer picture to the judge as to who this person is generally, or who this person is and what they mean to their family and their loved ones. And that's a part of what we call a mitigation or sentencing memorandum that goes to the court in order to get a lesser sentence, or to give the judge an idea of, this is a good guy, you know, mistakes happen or bad things happen, but he's been reformed, rehabilitated, and we as his family need him back.
And are you surprised more famous faces didn't come front and center to possibly also voice their support in favor of Diddy? I was surprised to only kind of see really the three standout names being Dallas Austin, Young Miami, and Stevie J, at least to me. But are you surprised other famous faces didn't also voice their support through letters, like maybe Ye, who attended the court that one day?
I'm actually not too surprised that we haven't heard more from some of the other celebrities, because I think that anybody...
Man, F all that. What about some real celebrities? Let's go down a little quick list, like a Denzel Washington. He ain't say nothing about this whole thing. A celebrity like Patti LaBelle or Anita Baker. You know, somebody that's really... Miles Davis, rest in peace. Not Miles Davis, my bad, y'all. That's my bad. You know what I'm saying? Somebody with some real pull. Celebrity. Tom Cruise. You know what I'm saying? We're the big... What about the other actor dude that's always at his house? Or some of the people like... what's Spike Lee? Spike Lee, what's up with... Why he ain't say nothing? Ain't no... Dude. You done made your bed, lay in it. Even Denzel. Come on, man. Ain't no real celebrities say nothing. Only the loved ones that miss him. The ones that he ain't gonna do nothing wrong to his daughters. Nah, he ain't that type of person. So,
with a pretty sound PR team is going to tell them to stay far away from this and to not give any opinions of it. I am kind of surprised that we haven't heard anything from Ye. But, you know, that's his prerogative. Of course, he has shown his support throughout the trial. And anybody who is willing and wants to support Mr. Combs through the sentencing phase and provide a memorandum or a letter, then they're able to do that. But I think considering what the defense has provided to the court, there have been significant amounts of letters and things of that nature that the judge can go off of to get another side of Mr. Combs, maybe different from what the judge has for that trial.
Do you think any of the letters kind of swayed maybe even your opinion in terms of what we heard at trial versus kind of the aftermath, even, before the trial began, that made you change your opinion in any type of way? I kind of felt like everything just felt kind of repetitive a little bit.
I think the most captivating letter that I got a chance to view was his mother's. And she makes a very good point. She's an 85-year-old woman or in her mid 80s. She doesn't know how much time she has left on this earth. And so one of the things that I think is important and what really spoke to me and would probably speak to the judge is wanting the ability to spend the end of her life with her, granting them the ability to reconcile their relationship outside of him being incarcerated, also granting the ability for the family to essentially be reunited and to satisfy this mother's wishes of having her son reunited with his children, her grandchildren, so that they can heal, move forward, and spend.
When they couldn't even get.
They wasn't thinking about that. Even the mother wasn't thinking about that when she was doing things to get. She's in lawsuits. She's in lawsuits too. Boy, you better be lucky I ain't the judge. You wasn't thinking about that when you was keeping them people money. People owe you money. Well, yeah, got to be proven in court though. Got to be proven in court. It shows funny how a lot of people go to court all the time, and some people don't go to court none of the times. That's crazy, man. I don't understand this right here.
Satisfy this mother's wishes of having her son reunited with his children, her grandchildren, so that they can heal, move forward, and spend.
When they couldn't even get basic emotional presence at home. How fame never filled the void created by emotional absence. The daughters also speak of the turning point, the moment they realized they had to choose between protecting the image or protecting themselves. They chose themselves. It wasn't sudden. It wasn't impulsive. It was the result of years of internal battles, years of quiet pain, years of watching themselves slowly fade into versions of people they didn't want to become. Their breaking point wasn't anger, it was clarity. They describe a moment when they looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person they saw, not because of appearance, but because of the exhaustion behind their eyes. They knew their silence was no longer an act of loyalty, it was a wound they kept reopening, and so they decided to speak, calmly, honestly, fearlessly. As they share their revelations, the world sees them not as victims, but as survivors, people who finally reclaimed their voices after living in an environment where their emotions were dismissed, minimized, or ignored. The daughters speak not to destroy, but to heal, not to humiliate, but to free themselves from years of emotional weight. The figure at the center watches their empire tremble, opportunities evaporate, partnerships freeze, supporters disappear, reputation fractures. The disbelief turns into panic, then frustration, then helplessness, because there's no defense against the truth when it comes from the people who lived it. There's no spin strong enough to reverse an emotional reality revealed by the ones who experienced it firsthand. The daughters' voices become a force, steady, undeniable, transformative. They shatter illusions many believed for years. They expose the emotional cracks hidden beneath a polished life. And in doing so, they force the world to confront how often power disguises absence, how often wealth masks wounds, how often images are used to hide emotional truths. When the people you raised become the ones who free themselves from your shadow, the collapse is inevitable. And the figure who once believed nothing could shake their world now stands in the ruins of the silence they forced upon the daughters who finally chose to speak.
But what did they say? They ain't saying. I ain't seen them speak. Clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. Man, Diddy is still in jail, getting in trouble. Diddy is a payday for a lot of people that's working in jails. Yup. Yes, he is. He sure enough is. Oh, that's behind that. I'm seeing something like it's a mirror right here, but when I'm looking for it, I don't see it in the mirror, but it's behind the laptops. Anyway, look here, man. I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. Jay-Z finally speaks out. Jay-Z ain't say nothing the whole daggone video. What's up with these titles, man?
A bullshit.
I'm just letting y'all know what I go through. They didn't even mention Jay-Z's name, I don't think. Shame on you. Hey, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell anyway. Dude, 4 more thousand people around the world need to subscribe to the channel And we at 500,000. Never thought we would make it this far. But we pushing, baby. Hey, help us out. Help a brother out working hard as I don't know what. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Double peace sign, don't you know? Tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.